this is not the first time we've done kind of like an interview with Hen before. Um, it was a couple of months ago. I want to say it was March, April. Does that sound right?
A couple months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did an awesome recording with you, Max and I did, and we really loved like your approach to like these high time frame swing trades, like how you use custom indicators. I think your kind of long term view on markets, and I think also another thing that I personally really loved was your ability to be disciplined with your screen time and how much energy you give to, I think, like obsessing over charts. One thing that one of our community members was asking about was how do you waste less time basically doom scrolling charts and looking for setups all day every day, um, versus like being very efficient with your time, being less stressed, kind of having a more balanced perspective. And when they asked that, I was like, oh, we have to get Hen back on and talk to him about this because he's like the most zen, like down to earth, like I guess expert in this area. So I'd love to like kind of like pose those as like maybe the topics and let you take it from there.
Yeah. Um, Thank you. Um, no, I think, I think that I was kind of trying to think about this sort of, you have to kind of go on that journey of emotional discipline, I think, and emotional of maturity in the markets. And that sometimes comes from you, you put yourself in. And I really think that the biggest change that I ever had was when you sort of start trading sort of with proper risk management. And so you always sort of you learn where your risk tolerance is. And the hardest part is that you usually have to go through some sort of experience yourself, I think, to learn it, which is the hardest part. Like everyone goes through those sort of times when they have the really huge wins and learns from that because they don't take it, or you have the times where you like nearly crash out and then you learn the lesson. And I think when I look back on it, like that's probably the very first thing that's like when you go through all of those, you kind of learn that you have to be able to avoid them or deal with them in different ways. So a lot of it was really just getting the sort of, I suppose, psychology down on the different positions that you can ever find yourself. And I read the Art of Execution book, and that sort of gave like a templates to it all. And then it was kind of just like back testing and realizing like it does not matter if I look at the chart for, you know, a day or so. Like it really does not matter if your system is built around sort of catching those larger time frame trends. Like every sort of candle, etc., will tell its own story, and you just kind of have to let that play out for the day and then check in on it rather than sort of watch it. Because another book that I read called Fooled by Randomness was sort of showed how like when you keep checking in on the positions, you kind of get either like a negative or a positive response from that, and the negative will always outweigh the positive. So like if you keep checking and keep checking, keep checking, your percentage chance of being like a good response versus a bad response is about like 50%. But then if you have like a higher time frame view of things, which you can see when you backtest that um, it's going to work if you trust the system, you just realize you just don't need to sort of check through the day at all. So I think the first thing that I would always recommend people do is read The Art of Execution and Fooled by Randomness. They're probably like the two biggest books that I have learned anything from. And I think it's just about having sort of actionable analysis. You see a lot of people post on Twitter, and it's kind of just like bullshit because it's kind of they're kind of just like making up different scenarios that are going to happen, and you have no idea what's going to happen. So you have to have a system where everything that you include in it has some form of like action related to it or trigger. And you have to determine sort of what that strategy is. So my strategy is basically to sort of buy, I mean, now really, it's sort of buy Bitcoin very heavily during bear markets and then ride the trend up to the top of the potential bull market. And it's just all about having a system that has definitive action and sort of points that you take. And I think once you start doing those two and sort of trying to follow a system and using that risk management, you go through enough scenarios where you can fine tune things in terms of how much you enter a position or like how many opportunities you get to enter a position or how much you take profits or even like the first time you exit a position, if you can exit it in multiple different ways, you learn like, oh, that was too much or oh, that was too little. But you have to start yourself in kind of like a safe range of like risk management. And it's not going to feel like much, but over the longer period of time, you set yourself up with good habits that you're not going to like eventually just crash out and lose it all. I think you have that risk if your risk management at the start is not what it should be.
I
That
love
would be my
that.
recommendation.
There was a lot there that I think we should try to maybe quickly unpack. I think so. I've actually read both Art of Execution and Fooled by Randomness. Um,
Oh, amazing.
Art of Execution, is that the one where there's three different types of traders? There's like the
Yeah,
ones
like
that the
you're,
yeah, okay. Do you want to give your quick take on maybe both those books, maybe like the 30-second synopsis of each, just so people kind of like maybe get a little bit of a snippet of why they should go read it?
yeah, they, well, I mean, um, I have screenshots saved in like my notes app, but it's basically about having the best, it's strategies for you for giving you the best mindset for things. It's kind of like the starting point of it talks to you about sort of what's a good it says be a sort of a hunter or assassin, so don't go all in, position size matters, um, be like a hunter where you adopt three bites, so I sort of have position sizes or sort of position triggers, so I don't just try and come in on one position, come in on a couple, having that to a point where the super trend sort of locks a definitive like exit point, so I don't always hold on to a position. Yeah, you might have a point where you sort of sell the bottom or something, but it's better than sort of having a position that you're just going to sort of keep holding down and down. Like more times than not, you're going to be right, and it's going to save you, even though you're not going to be right that one time. Next time, like maybe amazing. Um, There's a few case studies of a lot of things. It gives multiple case studies, which are good to read like the first time, but then you kind of like want to read it a second and third time without reading any of the case studies. They really make sense when you first go through it, and then teaches you how to ride winners, like the mentality behind it, and kind of like how boring it is. It's a really good book. It's a really, really good book. It changed everything.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from Art of Execution was pretty much what you said. It's a great framework, and it's about this like investment manager. He used to hire portfolio managers to manage his money for like a bigger fund, and so he met hundreds of them, right? And he basically was like, I can synthesize every single trader, investor, whatever in three buckets. One was a bucket where it's like basically that was the bad bucket. That was like the C bucket where they would like buy in one chunk, sell in
Sorry.
one chunk. They would never add to their winners. They
Yeah,
would,
it's really good.
yeah,
You have to read
yeah. It's a really good book, and that's
it.
I'm
My
not doing a
apologies.
great job of explaining it. But then there was like the people that where
Well,
they would add to their winners as they were going down versus just exiting the position because they had conviction that it was going to go higher eventually later, and then they were
yeah, but you have a stop loss
but
still.
they had a
So
stop
like,
loss exactly. They knew
yeah,
where they were wrong, but they were willing to kind of like buy value. And then there was the
yeah,
people that would do that, and then they would take profit on the way up and exit in like slices, small slices, kind of to reward themselves. But they really had big profit
yeah,
targets in mind where they would like exit the full position.
yeah.
So
That's exactly how I trade.
yeah,
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You have to read it. You have to have it. It's the best.
yep, totally
It
agreed.
is the first one that I would recommend. And then Fooled by Randomness. Fooled by Randomness, you can get down to, I think, a couple pages, unfortunately, in terms of what's really like standout-ish. But it's all about the probabilities. That's what really changed things for me in terms of the time frame and trying to stick to a higher time frame, or even just stick to like the time frame that I wanted to trade, rather than sort of checking the charts and caring about the charts more specifically. When I would check it through the day, I typically had an app that would block me during the day, just because I'd be like too emotionally invested. I seem to be fine now in terms of just like checking it and not worrying, which is great in terms of mentally looking at the market, because you know how it can cause like such crazy effects on your mentality.
Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
there's only a
So
few things.
that's on the theme of time management. So what is this app that you use to limit your screen time? And do you still use it? Like
I
do you
mean,
recommend that other people use it as well?
oh, 100%. Yeah, it's so good. It's called Freedom. It
Freedom.
has like a green butterfly kind of logo,
Okay.
and it like locks you out of things. I actually bought the paid version when I was in university. So it's so good. It was really useful for study periods, and I just kind of like used it during exams, and now I just use it for like social media and things like that. Um, just so I am forced into the mentality um, of doing it. I suppose the other book would be James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably number one life book I'd recommend anyone get. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, look, being a good trader is all about stacking good habits. Um, you know, at least in my journey, and everyone's journey is different. I think understanding that preparation is like 90% of success, I think was a really big one for me. Like creating a watch list, only trading the watch list, not taking random ass trades that you see like the day of or morning of, and trying to wing it.
Definitely some sort of
That's a
patience.
huge step in development, and also like just cutting losses quickly, like having the discipline to do that. I think that's also a habits thing that just takes practice. And there's so many more, right? With your routine, your morning routine, your meditation, even health and diet, like all those things. Like you have to treat trading like being a professional athlete. There's so much that goes into it that isn't just actually, hitting the buy and the sell button. I think you talk a lot about taking care of like your mental game, like being balanced. I think that's also really cool.
I think you just have to kind of like there's that um it's kind of like that you got to have five hobbies or something along those lines, and one of them is sort of to help you make money. So you got to see trading as like that part. So you kind of like have to, although you don't really like talk to anyone about it in person, just because like talking about money's weird. Um,
Just random internet friends
or yeah,
that share the
basically,
same
well,
weird
you
passions.
maintain exactly, but then you improve your life with it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's one of something that it's a really good skill to have, and you kind of have to invest time into doing that. It's kind of like if you go to the gym, like you go to the gym, if you like are going to do trading, like you have to kind of like spend a little bit of time learning how to do it. So you have to put some time aside. I wouldn't say you have to be like, you know, a professional athlete in that way, but you have to develop good habits and be able to stick to them. And then once it's just like a gym routine, it's like a trading routine, and you just get into it and you just sort of like do it in your life. That's how I do it anyway. I'm not like sitting at the screen 24/7.
Yeah.
I just have it as like part of my life.
No, I think that's one of the things that we learned last time we spoke with you, um, and I already know, but people that are watching this should know is that like you only check the charts twice a day, right? You have the freedom
Pretty
app that you
much,
just
yeah.
talked about, and it basically locks you out every 12 hours, right? So your charts are 12-hour candle closes, like that's one of the main things you look at is 12-hour candle closes, and you log on to see
Pretty much.
where the 12-hour candle close is, and then you log off. That's basically it. And so you're just monitoring like very high time frame moves. You're not like most people obsessing about these lower
See, I
time
wouldn't
frames.
consider it a high time frame
Yeah, you consider 12
because,
hour
like,
lower.
you think about, well, you think about it, right? Bitcoin's in a 4-year cycle. So what is a day in a 4-year
Yeah,
cycle?
exactly.
Like the whole, like, what is a day in a 4-year cycle? You have so long. I mean, don't you? Like you actually have
It's
quite a
a
long period of
fraction of a
time. It's not
fraction
like,
of
oh,
1%. Yeah.
it's not like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing with the chart. I'm just fucking around. Um, but like you have time. You have so much time. Like you just have to accept that you're not going to buy the exact Pico bottom. You're not going to catch every single like aspect of every move. Overall, you will like profit, and then kind of like ignore it.
Do you want to tell us a little about this indicator? Is this the same old hen system, the EMA, SMA,
It is, yeah,
and super
basically.
trend?
It's two holes instead of the EMA SMA.
Oh, so you got rid of the EMA,
But
SMA. That makes me sad. I still use dude, I still use
I know.
the
Yeah,
EMA
yeah, yeah, I see
SMA,
it.
and then the 3.5 super trend is my main moving average. I think I love it. I love it so much more than the 200s.
Yeah. Just allows you to be like higher time frame.
It's a little more reactive. I mean, obviously you can line them up to be the same as the 200s, but I feel like it, at least for what I do, and it's funny because I'm trading much lower time frames than you're trading, but it's very good for what I'm doing, which is basically like trading like SR flips on lower
Yeah.
time frames.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a super trend, and I basically use three, and it's effectively three moving averages. It's the Hull, I think it's like the 230 on the daily, or on all of them. Hull, exponential Hull, and a super trend.
Mm.
And that's basically like my trend indicator, kind of like an Ichimoku cloud-esque
Yep.
kind of thing. Um, it only fills in the blue when the super trend is above everything. So it kind of like gives my bearish clouds, but also tells me when sort of the super trend is above the moving averages, so the sort of price is a bit more parabolic.
Mm-hmm.
So I can trend things as like moving average basis, like oh yeah, reclaims the moving average. But then once it hits the super trend, that's like a definitive, like you have to enter, like no matter what, you have to enter. Like if you haven't entered here, you haven't taken the moving average trade, you have to accept that you've probably missed that trade, but enter on the trend anyway.
Mm.
And the system's kind of like built up where you can potentially sort of add. The idea is was four positions, but I think it's really going to be sort of three at the most going forward. I don't think I'll get like a fourth opportunity or trigger to do things. But the basically idea is to like risk up as quickly as possible. It's probably the wrong term, but with every trigger that kind of like occurs. So you get like two, three ideally sort of entries, and then you just kind of like follow the um, trend, and you have to definitively exit here. But the idea is that you are taking quite a like sort of profit as things go higher, especially when the super trend is leading, because it kind of gives an idea that price is a little bit more parabolic. And then I use the trend reversal predictor, which is the Tom DeMark system.
Mm-hmm.
I will always take profits and it's sort of an M13, M9, of M13 on kind of like that basis. So based on this one, I would have sort of taken. Actually, probably wouldn't have taken profit here, even though it is a trigger, because I would have expected more. I think I thought have expected Bitcoin to keep going. I expected this range to keep ranging. I didn't expect a range breakdown. Um, so that was a really bad trade for me. But would have taken a really high profit here. There's M13 and then an M9 afterwards. So kind of would have taken profit here, but probably 50% or so position was still open when it closed here. So like didn't make too much, but the profit that was taken up here really helped. Then yeah, didn't. That was a bad trade. And then yeah, we just building a position here, so that ended up
Yeah. So when did you
being an
get back in over
entry.
here? I think it's now
So
I'm
here,
remembering when we last spoke because we were. I think we spoke before the April lows. So we were talking sometime
I
in,
think we
in, in
spoke. I
March.
think we
Yeah.
probably spoke like
Yeah, we were
here or
talking in there
something.
and you were just fresh off that loss. You were like, "Yeah, I thought this was going to range and come back up and it didn't
Yeah,
and you had to get out obviously."
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I lost. Yeah, I lost. I was too leveraged on that position. I was too confident. Um, which you learn,
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's part of the game. It's not just wins.
um, I don't know. And then was just getting interested here. Um, was still a little bit skeptical, I suppose. I think the S&P or something was like bearishly retesting as well, and I kind of just like accepted that. And then as soon as it broke, I got back in. Um, didn't take profit here. I think I added in here based on a 12-hour signal. And then obviously went very heavy in the sub $0.1 million Bitcoin,
I love that. $0.1
which
million
was like
dollars.
somehow like a plan that just like emerged. I was like, I'm gonna get this, and then it occurred on some random Tuesday afternoon, and I was just sitting on the couch and I saw it, and I was like, well, I have done all of my calculations, and I know how much I'm risking, and I already had it planned, and I just put in the order, and yeah, and then it just went back up.
Did you bid 100K or were you just like, "All right, I'm going to literally just market buy this right now?"
I just checked into the charts and it was like 98. It was like below 99. And I was like, oh, this is like, I'll accept if this goes lower. I've got a little bit more that I could add, but I can't miss a potential opportunity. Like, what if it does go back up? So I just follow the
I love
trigger.
it. I love it.
I have like a thread on Twitter where I've sort of put together all of my different positions you can find yourself in, and like the quotes and stuff that like I used to build around that system in the art of execution. So I have that as like my highlights and my um, Twitter account.
I will
So
definitely check that
um,
out. I definitely have alerts on for you. But I
oh,
will,
you do? Oh,
of
that's so cool.
course, dude, of course.
It's crazy.
You're one of the, you know how we were talking earlier today. I was like, most people on Twitter are actually really bad traders, and it's like totally fake. You're not one of them. There's not many good traders on Twitter, but there are a few, and it's funny. A lot of them don't have a lot of followers or a lot of recognition because they're not shilling or scamming people. Um,
No, yeah, you just kind of like organically grow it.
totally, totally. Um, So what is that blue? So obviously the super trend. When the super trend flips up, that is bullish. When it flips down, that is bearish. Um,
Yeah, so they just kind of like support resistance lines, really, is how you'd see the moving averages. But then, so it's basically three. So it might make a lot more sense if I do this. So it's three moving averages.
yes, yes. And the third
But
can be considered like a midpoint, right?
I remove the top one, and it only shows me when the super trend is above anyway. So that's always going to be when it like flips, basically. So I can visually see the trigger, but this makes it easier for me to visibly see when the super trend is like leading on like small occasions. So like the weekly here. like I probably would have missed that if I didn't have it shading that way. So I may have like missed that trigger. I didn't look at it close enough.
Yeah, it's big, expansive moves.
Yeah. So when the super trend is like leading, then it's like, okay, well, my take profits should be a lot more because even though I'm expecting to ride the trend, like this could potentially be like quite a good position to just like take a little bit off, but you still maintain a core position. Um, yeah, you risk on heavily at the start and then you sort of slowly risk off.
Interesting.
You still try and maintain enough in the position where you're happy to keep riding the trend. Like you can't like, take too much off, but you only learn what that means to you going through it.
What is the random blue splotches? Like that,
Where?
not part of the wave. Is it the Bitcoin rainbow wave? But I don't know what like you see on your chart. There's like
Oh
other
yeah,
blue. Yeah, what
those
is
ones.
the like? It's like a little diamond as well.
It's a model based on um a Bitcoin model. Let me view the those. Yeah, it's this one. It's based on like the power law, which I mentioned a couple of times, which is like Bitcoin increasing in price by like on the y-axis and the x-axis. So like the time between things gets shorter, I think. It's got like the rainbow, like the logarithmic regression band that Bitcoin kind of like follows in, and the like rainbow um, bands as well. And it's like a couple of those includes a bit of minor thing as well at the bottom, but it sort of gives rough areas of where tops are going to be. Um, and I only just sort of discovered this maybe like a couple weeks ago, but like it kind of like makes sense because like this was the first top, and then I believe that this was actually really like the second. I think this one was fake because of FTX.
Mm.
Um, and so I think we get something, and it's like, it's within a range. It's got y-axis, x-axis, in what it could be. So, we've still got plenty of time. Even if it just like dips in there, it's like that's going to be like a good position for me just to try and like take actually quite a lot off and maybe just like put it in banks. So
I mean, that would be
it's
fantastic,
actually really
wouldn't it
good.
be?
And it's very like, and it gives like future projections as well. Sometimes it loses it though, which like doesn't make sense to me. But
um, I love it. And I think those things make a lot of sense, right? It's looking at standard deviations. It's looking at really large holistic moves, and when people are looking to take profit on long term positions, it makes sense that they're looking at these type of indicators. Especially if you're in price discovery, there's
yeah.
nowhere else. There's no levels. There's no other things to kind of inform
Resistance,
your.
there is no
Yeah,
resistance.
exactly. So it makes sense that you're like, all right, we're 2 or 3 standard deviations above the value area. It's like, all right, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you're kind of happy either way. You're still happy either way. If it drops back down, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna add some more back in, and you can like increase your position a little bit if you want to do it that way. But you have that opportunity, and it feels good, and it helps stick to the thing in the long term. Because like trading's so boring. Like genuinely, it's so boring.
Yeah, you got to reward yourself to stay kind of engaged. I get it. It's what it
But yeah,
talks about
like yeah, like you kind of
in the book, right? Art of Execution. You have to
yeah,
reward
it's
yourself.
so boring. But like they have those moments where you're like, okay, I have to do something now. Um, and it's having that psychology to is the exact same for the this is so boring, but the psychology for the trigger in terms of I have to do something now is like wildly different, and you never really learn. It's learning those. It's learning to like the seven or whatever um, different aspects that I think you can find yourself in a trade. I sound like the Liver King with his 9 ancestral tenants. One, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. I think I got from the book Art of Execution, and I found like quotes and stuff from Twitter and yeah, other books, and it's just all yeah. It's just that. Honestly, it's just that, and it's like every time you have a trigger for something, you like read that, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and then it gets to a point where you're like, oh, I don't even need that now. Like I understand what it's going to say, and like it's a couple sentences, whatever, and you just do it, and you just put the risk on, and it's not going to work sometimes, but the other times it's going to really work, and you just stick to it over time, and yeah, that's it.
I like that a lot. Like some reminders of good habits, or like things that are going to force you to continue using good habits. I use sticky notes on my desk.
Yeah,
One of the things that I've recently been turned on to, and this is from Trader XO, and he encouraged people to read The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler is the author. It's great. I think you would love it too, and I think everyone should read it, especially if you have issues with your mental game, which I certainly sometimes do. Talks the big thing of it is talking about like having your A game, your B game, your C game, and like kind of like writing down and understanding like where you are at your best, your middle, and your worst, and then the big jumps in your trading and your improvements will come from fixing your C game, and just like maniacally focusing on making the worst parts of your mental habits better, and then eventually your old C game is gone and it improves. Your B game gets better, your A game gets better, and you kind of inchworm up. It's a bell curve that inchworms up and up and up. You keep fixing your C game, and then everything else gets better. Keep fixing your C game, everything else gets better. The inchworm moves forward, the bell curve moves forward. Your old C game doesn't exist. Your old A game is now your current C game, kind of thing. And so I have a reminder of where I am at my worst, and I'll literally read it. I struggle with impulsivity, distraction, and when I'm really down, I'm depressed. And so if I can work on those things, and then there's the mental and there's the technical. So you also have to map. All right. So when I'm at my worst mental, what does that mean technically? What kind of setups am I taking? What am I doing with my sizing? What am I doing with my risk? What am I doing with stop loss? What time of days am I trading? What days of the week? Like those kind of things. You want to be able to link them together. But it after reading the book and reflecting on it, it's really helped me.
I get it. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever read that one. It's kind of like a combination, maybe, of Atomic Habits and Alex. It's like both of those combined.
You're breaking up a little bit. Say that again, Hen.
Um, it sounds like a combination of Art of Execution and Atomic Habits.
Yeah, yeah. I think candidly a lot of these like trading mental whatever books are there's a lot they are good. There's a lot of great literature in the space, but nothing there's nothing new under the sun, and a lot of it's just kind of like said a different way from the author's perspective, which is all good and fine. But it's helped me a lot. I would say that's definitely a must read. Another thing that in the book it breaks down, and I think this guy was like a poker player or a poker coach, and obviously poker position
I've heard
sizing.
poker's good.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
yeah.
so one of the things he talks about too that he coaches his poker players on is like when you identify a mental flaw. So for me, like impulsivity was one. You basically have like a 5-step way that you should attack it. It's like I have to remember it now. It's like define what your problem is. What is the flaw? Or sorry, yeah. What is your problem? Why did you think that was okay? What is the flaw with that problem?
Why do you think that was okay?
Yeah, exactly. Like rewrite the flaw, and
That's
then
actually
and then the fifth step is like create a permanent solution. So, and this is actually perfect because we've talked a lot, and I love the free flowing format. But I think the original thing we want to talk about was saving time, being efficient with your trading, being more disciplined, and my
yeah. You just got to
impulsivity.
have a system.
The permanent fix that I've kind of been working on is to create a watch list every Sunday. Um, Only trade the watch list. I can add to the watch. I can open it up each morning. I can add to it. I can edit the watch list. But that's basically the list of things I can trade. Um, and then I don't have to stare at charts. I don't have to scroll. I don't have to, look at Twitter for ideas of where and when to trade. I have a rule book. And then also, before I enter trades, I've been getting really into tagging all the trades with data and then putting the data into like a visualizer, like a trade visualizer, and then like trying to tease out certain tags that helped me win more and lose less. And actually, I think you'll love this, Hen.
Uh,
And I'll share my screen and I'll just show you. So before I ever take a trade, I've actually been good about this, but I've really been expanding the data. I will just load up an Excel, and this thing is huge. And every trade idea I have, I will put it in here first, and it lets me pause and reflect and put screenshots and put unique identifiers. And I don't always even take these trades. But when you put it in here, you can kind of realize, is it a good trade? Is it a bad trade? Um,
yeah.
so this is actually a trade I didn't take. I very much wanted to short, candidly, this range high. I thought this was like a really golden opportunity to go short, but clearly, I'm glad I didn't take it because it would have gotten totally blown out. But
Dirty boy.
um, I talk about this is personal for me, and I think everyone should develop their own system. And
Yeah, that's great.
this is not inspired by anyone else. This is people talking about tagging
Yeah,
data
the triggers.
and doing things like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is very unique to the way that I like to trade, which is like lower time frame kind of reclaim trades. So trade concept. Whose money are you taking? I thought people who were expecting a breakout trade were going to be wrong, so that was the people's money I was going to take. A lot of things: market structure, MAs. Is price going in the right direction? Is the risk reward okay? And then the most important thing that I think you'll think is interesting is all these data tags. And I've been really expanding these. This used to be like 4, 5, or 6,
Yeah, I was looking at
but
them.
this is now it's pretty big. Um, and I'll give a name to each one. These are all moving averages. The daily 12-hour. This is the EMA SMA 50s and the super trend. So the original hen. I'll see which direction
Hey.
it's on. I've been really looking at recently, and this is from Max, stochastics, breadth, and then I've even that was what he turned me on to, and then I've gotten more into RSI and MACD, and obviously all of these are kind of similar. Um,
Yeah, that's the rabbit hole I go down occasionally, and I always
yeah,
go back to the Tom DeMark system. It's just so much more actionable for me.
yeah,
I go down all the time. I love the DSS Bressert one, the one
yeah,
that Bob Lucas uses. It's beautiful. It's so
yeah.
beautiful, but
That's
I
this one.
can't use it. I can't use it. I just can't use
You know
it.
what's
It's not
funny?
actionable for me.
It,
It
it,
looks great.
it looks great, and I've actually in my data, and I've tagged a lot of trades. Um, it is usually consistently wrong with my style of trading. It is frequently
Yeah,
a bad
I
trigger
don't
for
like
me,
it. It's
and I
just
and
not
I and I and I
actionable.
like recording it because I like to get the data. But I've stopped using it for
I
a
always try.
trade idea.
I get bored.
It's
Yeah.
it sometimes can look really pretty and then can sometimes be totally like right here. Like this is a great example, right? This is the DSS flipping down, and then Bitcoin broke right up, right? But
Yeah.
you know what I found is, at least for, and again, when Hen or I say something is alpha, it does not mean it will be alpha for you. It has simply been alpha for the way that I trade. Um, but this breadth indicator, this blue and
Yeah,
this
it's
this
100%
purple
alpha.
one,
We're not wrong.
this yeah exactly, this purple and blue one is the vast majority of my winning trades are when it's on the right direction of this, which is
They kind of followed the trend though.
exactly but all yeah exactly all
It's
that
like, what's the
means
point?
all it means is I'm just trading with the higher time frame trend. So I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I tag a lot of
That's what I
that.
find. It provides
Yeah,
nothing new.
yeah,
I don't think they provide anything new. I think if you're trend trading, you, you end up using the trend anyway. I can't use those oscillators. I have to go to the DeMark system. It's the only way that I can, and I only use it to take profit. It's the only thing, and maybe add on the dip. Take profit, add on the dip. I don't try and buy bottoms or anything along those lines. That's not my style. It's trend trading, and price is price. So it's literally just following the trend. And most of the RSI stuff, it follows the trend anyway.
yep,
And maybe, yeah, it tells you where the top is, but it doesn't give you anything actionable for the top, in my opinion, each time.
no,
Sometimes yes, but most of the times no. So when like it's right, amazing. But the Tom DeMark system is fully actionable, and I think is really the best way in terms of taking profit with the trend. It's the only thing that I use it for, taking profits with the trend. I don't use it for like entries and stuff like main entries.
hmm,
Main entries are always with the trend and with like the trend indicator.
yeah. And when you say
That's the
that
big thing.
the
That's the big thing.
yeah, the Tom DeMark system is the TD count, right? It's what I have on the chart here. It's the nines
Yeah,
and the 13s. Yeah, okay, got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is it anything else
yeah.
besides that, or is it just that?
Just
Yeah.
that. Just that you only need like a couple. Like you only need because like that's the system, right? The system is to position heavy early with the trigger, so you're with the trend. You give yourself, options. You may buy the top, but you can still buy like the next high time frame, high or low or something. But you do that, and then your whole goal is just to ride the trend as much as possible and just take stuff off. And
Yeah.
you use the Tom DeMark system to like take stuff off. You don't try and like predict when the top is going to be because then you're always going to sell yourself short, and you're never going to let it fully ride. And so, like, yeah, you may miss it, but if the same mindset that made you do that is the same mindset that will actually allow you to, ride those ones that go absolutely crazy when they do. And that's so much more worth it. So you kind of have to accept like the winner's mindset, as
Yeah.
Trader Mercury says.
Yeah.
You just have to keep doing that, otherwise
Yeah.
you'll miss that one up at like that few opportunities or whatever.
Totally. I think at least from what I've seen, and I'll actually show you later. Well, actually, I'll show you. You can see this now, but like, I've been doing daily 20s. This is a popular one for shorter time frame traders. You know, um, stop behind structure. Obviously, not really applicable for you because you're trading such high time frames that like your stop is likely under structure already. But
I use the super trend for that. I just use the super trend as the stop loss.
yeah,
That's like my stop.
and
So I'll bid anything down to that.
sorry, say that again.
I'll bid anything down to the super trend.
Hmm.
Um, so like even, do you know how like the super trend is kind of like the Donchian channels?
Mm-hmm.
So super trend's kind of like the top when it's bearish and the bottom when it's bullish. How it like flips suddenly, like goes from really high to really low.
Yep.
That's like my stop loss every single time. That's like my invalidation every single
A
time.
super trend.
So if I'm bullish, yeah, so if I'm bullish and like super trend is flipped and I've entered, and I didn't enter on the moving average, I will enter back down unless the super trend is flipped again. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it just goes straight through. But I'll always bid that. That's like my savior.
It's awesome. What else is kind of
But
interesting?
sometimes you
I've been asking AIs, ChatGPT, Grok, and Hustle,
hustle.
is the
What's
setup going to
hustle?
work or not? I'm trying to collect enough data to see if any of these have an edge. So let's see. So this is
What's hustle?
Hustle is, dude, it's cool. You should check it out. It's actually, it's called Agent Hustle. It's free. It's I think it uses
Asian
Claude.
hustle?
Yeah, Agent Hustle. I'll send it to you after this.
Agent.
Yep,
Okay.
Agent Hustle. Sorry, excuse me. Um, it is really, really interesting. These devs built it, and it is an AI that also has a built-in multi-chain wallet, and it can trade for you if you want. I haven't actually used it to trade for me, but I will frequently ask it for trading advice. Mav has set it up to like trade for him, and you can like teach it all these things. He's taught it Astro. He's done all these crazy things with it, but it's like kind of like a jailbroken version of Claude that you can connect wallets to and can literally have it trade for you. So I think it's really
You just
popular in the trenches.
put your system in and then just let AI do it all for you.
Yeah, who needs to think anyways? It's pretty
Interesting.
crazy.
It kind of like, that is quite interesting.
Well,
I mean, it's technically very feasible. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, so Grok and Hustle were right to not take this trade. They were like, don't do it. um,
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
yeah, these are all the other tags. But what I've found interesting is I'm tracking of my winners and losers, and I'm looking at dollar amounts. Um, what percentage is yes when I win for like the total, and then I've teased out some alpha. I call it the big four, and I lit them up in blue, at least for my system. If price is on the right side of the 4 hour, the 1 hour daily breadth, and I have stop behind structure, I'm like infinitely more likely to win the
Oh yeah, you're
trade.
just basically doing a research article. Yeah. This is so cool. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
just getting GPT to figure it out.
So I basically figured
What
out.
is significant or not?
Yeah, I basically figured out that if I have 3 out of these 4, like fucking do it. Like you should size up. If you don't, like, and this is another example. Like this is a 25%er. Like this is one that I didn't take, but I should never have really even thought of it. It didn't have my criteria. The total yes was pretty low on this as well. I usually like to see at least 60% total yes. And then I've also been tagging my emotions. So at least here I said I had restraint, discipline, and I reformatted the trade. So I was gonna tag it with these criteria, but I never took the trade, so it doesn't matter. But I've been messing around with other platforms. I'm not saying that like everyone should do this, but um, I have been doing some of these tagging, and let me show you.
No, it's good to write down like what your
Yeah,
triggers are. Otherwise, you just
I'm
like,
just gonna paste this right
otherwise you just
here.
end up searching on. You don't learn it initially. You just end up searching on Twitter for answers,
And this is
and you don't know those
th-
systems. And
totally. You have to, especially when
yeah,
you're getting
start
started
journaling. You
out.
can get away from it.
You have
Yeah, you have to start. You have to do it. You have to go through a period of time doing it, but you can get away from it in the end. Um, you don't even need to look back on the journals. It's just the process of doing it, and uh, that was what really helped me figure out what was actionable and what not. What I need, what was I writing down or whatnot, and then I just realized, oh, I just don't need that much.
yeah, but so I've been plugging this data, and this is actually from a couple of weeks ago. So this is old,
That's cool.
but and I my list has gotten way bigger. But I've realized that when the breadth is yes is my biggest winners, and when the breadth is no is my biggest losers. So it's like if you just trade on the side of the trend, duh, like what we talked about, then for my system, I'm not going to say it's alpha for everyone because it might not be, but at least for me,
But
that's been a big one. And then another thing that I've realized, which this won't be applicable to you because you don't trade as much, but like the time of day for my trading, look, everything after 1 p.m. is when I make all my money. So all the mornings I shouldn't be, it's chalk, right? It's a little win, little loss, little win, little loss. All my money is made after 1 p.m. Something weird is happening between 3 and 5. But I've been really trying to get more into these analytics.
maybe your system does not work for certain countries' trading hours.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, I don't know. I don't really even care. I'm just like, all right, I need to just
You should
focus on
actually
what's working.
overlay the different trading hours and see which ones.
Well, yeah, it's
You know
everything
how they
after
have like
1
those
p.m.
different
Eastern.
ones?
This is 1 p.m. Eastern and until like, 9 or 10 p.m. That's what works for me. And that would
Yeah,
be uh
I don't know
that's Asia.
I know
Well,
there's time.
it's end of the New
There you
York
go.
session and then it's Asia. So
There you
that's when
go.
I thrive.
You're stealing all of Asians' money. You're doing America's good work.
Hmm. Yeah. So this was a long-winded way of showing you all these things, but yeah, this is what
That's
I've been
cool.
working on, man, and I think it's been helping a lot. At least it's been what it's really helped me is in my confidence. I think letting me realize that I do have alpha in certain places. I think that
It's just learn it.
I
Yeah,
think
just learn the
sometimes
system
you're like,
work.
man, is there any alpha in anything that I'm doing? And once you actually see it
Yeah.
happen, you're like, okay, actually there is alpha.
Yeah, you just have to stick to it then.
Yep, and then there's that discipline aspect. And I think that's a problem a lot of people have is they get really down. They don't know what they're doing yet because they're just getting started. And
You
they
don't know how boring it should be.
yeah, exactly. It, exactly, because once you know what you're looking for, you realize that those setups don't really come around that often. And even more dramatically so for you, but like for me, like there's frequently weeks or 2 weeks or 3 weeks where there's just nothing to do and it's like, wow, this is really really boring. And for you, it can be even
Yeah.
longer.
Oh, it's so boring. Oh my God, yes.
But
I mean, think about it, right? I've been in a position now. I was first in Bitcoin position in May, so I've had 1, 2 months, right? Like the past 2 months, I basically 1, 2, 3 times like had to do something. And that doing something didn't take very long, but like the prior like work and like knowing a system and having a system and knowing what works and whatnot. Um, like, okay, now it's a different mindset, right? So like the past month or so was like, okay, position chopping around entry, like, oh, um, don't close it, like don't like over leverage just in case it goes down and like be risk responsible, etc. And now it's like, okay, now we've broken out. It's kind of like, okay, well now there's really no more entries for me in this major trend. And so now I'm in like the okay, you don't sell early, like you don't just take the profit and run. You like ride the trend. You just have to have those systems, which I think you like. That's how you describe.
Yeah, you have to have the discipline to keep holding at this point, especially with a higher time frame system, for sure.
Yeah, I think as well, you just kind of got to accept that when you get into the market or get into um, trading, you have to kind of like accept, like if it's bearish trend or something, and you're like, oh, I just got in, like I want it to be bullish, like I want it to be bullish, and you kind of like fight that, and just have to have that patience as well. You don't have to have all three, don't you? Really, like it's really risk management, and then patience, and then execution,
Amen.
and it all is equally as important, and they're all built around a system.
Yes, it does.
Then you just have to develop your own.
Yeah, you do. And we were talking about this earlier, right? You really have to just care about your own opinion more than everyone else's. It's like you just
Yeah, and it's what works.
yeah
It's what works for you.
yeah
Like I'm not. I can't. I have a job and I enjoy it, and I don't want to be looking at charts all day. And so this is what works best for me, and it's nice to. It's like it's kind of enjoyable as well.
So for people that are trying to spend less time on charts, maybe take back control of
Go
their
back
life.
and see. Yeah, just go back and see the trends that you can see. Like, and you just check the chart once a day. Oh, just once a day. And you just keep going and keep going, and you just go back and look at the trends that have occurred on like the dailies. You do not need to. You have to realize that like when you're trading, there's a long period of time between 24 hours.
Yeah,
You know a system, you have a trigger. Like it does not take you that 24 hours to like I don't know microwave something, right? But you know what, and that's kind of like how trading gets to. You just like know what to do, and you've got so long to do it. It's like eating breakfast. You've got all 24 hours to do it.
do you do a weekly watch list or a daily watch list, or are you simply only
I just watch
trading
Bitcoin.
just Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. But look, I mean, I have Bitcoin, ETH BTC, I have, and I have others BTC. And, yes, you could argue that those have bottomed, but I would say that they are definitely not in a period of uptrending against Bitcoin. They definitely have some like sideways to go. Any high time frame trend you can see, like it's just not bouncing straight back up. That'd be insane. Like it's got to go through that like consolidation period. And like, yeah, you may be buying the bottom for sure, but I think ETH holds up really well in the bear market,
Yeah,
almost against Bitcoin. I think potential if ETH is going to ever do anything, it's basically got to do it next cycle. Um, it's kind of got to be like Bitcoin cycle this time, ETH cycle next time, and then sort of like random other ones. Like that's when the alt season is actually like it's alt cycle kind of thing.
mm,
Is like my somewhat thesis is that this cycle's Bitcoin's turn, next cycle's ETH's turn, and the cycle after that is like alt alt cycle,
interesting.
but like major alts kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think ETH. I think ETH's got a long way to go. So it's really just Bitcoin. I'm just trading Bitcoin, and then I'm just monitoring how it's doing compared to ETH, and then compared to the alts in general. And it's just
Interesting.
doing very well.
So there's no altcoin setup that you're interested in taking. You're just focusing on Bitcoin and taking
I
profit.
don't even know what the charts look like, to be honest. Literally don't even know.
That's zen. I mean,
I look at them occasionally.
yeah, that's zen.
I always look at TIA and Celestia, and I'm like, still under $2.
that bag is wrecked. Oh, what a disappointing
That's so
chart.
that's okay. I have wormhole or whatever from 50 cents, and I'm just like, well, I don't care. I knew that it was I knew that it was going to go low, and staking it could potentially be worth something. So maybe like maybe it can still pull something.
Sometimes you just have to be in it for the tech.
This was just for the opportunity.
I love
Opportunity
that.
for a potential airdrop.
I think a lot of people can learn from the way that you do it. Like as you said, you have a really good job, and we won't say what it is, but you have a very impressive job outside of this. Like you have a great family life, like home life, very balanced, like great approach to markets. You can size up in one position too. It's like I think that's one thing that people when they are so desperate to
Yeah,
trade alts, right? They're trying to make up for
they're trying to do it in like an
yeah,
hour kind
exactly.
of thing,
They're
when it's
exactly
just
they're,
not.
they're, they're, they're trying to take on more risk to get more return more quickly. And when you're in multiple different alt positions, I always tell people this. I'm like, you're not in multiple different positions. If you're entering five different positions on the same day, you didn't take five trades. You just took one trade, but in just different assets that are really the same asset. So it's like
Yeah,
if
well, you
there's
just
one asset
you
that's
need to
better
pick
than
and
all of
trade.
them, which Bitcoin probably is, you might as well just take the best asset, put as much size as you're willing to take on your whole portfolio if the right setup is there, and then that's all there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
it.
posted a thing the other day where I was like, I think being long Bitcoin is the most contrarian trade because it's way too risky for most of like the people who just invest in stocks or whatever. And then for everyone who's actually into crypto, it's way too boring.
Yeah,
Um, so it's kind of like no one really wants it. And I just think, yeah, I missed it last time. Tried to get into alts last time, and the alts that I picked didn't run as high as others, and sort of gave back more in terms of trend. But Bitcoin ran really well, and I was like, oh, if I can just build a leverage position in Bitcoin, like I have super high confidence in that in terms of just like fundamental stuff. And the whole Trump meme coin things, it was hilarious. But then it's kind of like, oh yeah, it really does just like the mainstream view of crypto is just a casino. It's like sports
it
betting,
is a
I think,
casino.
I think it's basically come to like sports betting kind of thing. And most there's too many coins now, and it's really just like um, TikTok trends or Instagram trends or whatever. Like they just come and then they go, and then you're just left with like an echo bubble of cult following
Yeah,
afterwards who sort of trade it, and that's why nothing really like runs. Like everyone's talking about bonk and stuff like that, but like it's really just been ranging for the past however long.
totally.
Like it's really just Bitcoin. Everyone's like, oh, I listened to an interview on Unchained, and there's a guy from Bit Digital who like transferred over to ETH, and the interviewer, she's really good, Laura Chen,
Yeah, yeah, she is.
was just like was just like, yeah, but ETH, like the L2s, they're scaling, no value comes back to ETH, and he was just like, oh, it's just like the narrative's going to be there, like, it's going to be there. People are going to talk about the narrative, like people are just going to buy it because it's ETH, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like really nothing. Like Bitcoin, like I think is the most contrarian trade. So that's what I was like, no, just focus on that. Like, what's the point? Nothing. Like, why spend more time doing other things? And Bitcoin trades really well as well. Like it trends really well.
Yeah, it does.
Like it trends really well. And so like one of the thing in that art of execution book is like size up big on your ideas and like, okay, well if Bitcoin is just like it's kind of like Michael Saylor really. Like he's such a good like Bitcoin advocate, but I think of it just in like a different way. Um, obviously you plan to sell, um, rather than he doesn't. But yeah, it's the only thing that like politicians can't can chill. Given to founders. I have that thing on the front that I have pinned on my Twitter, the insider allocation. Like Bitcoin has zero insider
Hmm.
allocation. Everything else at launch had insider allocation. And it's just like, oh yeah, like it's the only like pure one.
Yeah, it can't be manipulated.
It's kind of got to the point now where it's like, oh yeah, like we've really come to that like bell curve where Bitcoin, or not bell curve, sorry, but like that parabolic advance where like Bitcoin was like none, and then there was a big gap, Ethereum, Cardano, etc., and then like it just kept going up in terms of how much the insider allocation like got, and now we're just at full blown, just like, oh yeah, I'm just making a meme coin in my like house to try and rip you all off and dump my money on you. Like it's just now blatant. So it's just like come full circle.
Oh man. Well, Hen, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or show us while we have your precious time?
I think so. I think by art of execution, for anyone that's listening, by fooled by randomness, by atomic habits as well, and then just read them twice, and then maybe come back to trading.
Yeah. Honestly, that's better advice
If you really need
than
to,
you'll
like,
get most places.
if you really need to learn, if you really need to learn and learn by yourself, like just have to read those books twice and kind of like learn how to do it, and then you have to kind of incorporate those habits into other things and into your daily life. And trading is one of them.
Yeah, well said, man. Well, thanks for the chat, and I hope everyone
Fun.
enjoys
I
this.
enjoy it.
I know I did. I love the chance to
Yeah.
get on the phone with you.
That's good. I enjoyed talking about it.